Hey guys, thanks for watching. This is another update on my Pan Those Eyeshadows challenge. So let's begin. So for a quick recap, I chose 5 random eyeshadows for my second round. 3 of them were from my Dream Street, and then 1 from Naked, and then 1 from my Prism. Let's first start with Smog from my Naked palette. And I've used this quite a bit. I've used this almost every workday because it's very neutral, but if you guys know, the Naked eyeshadows are so tight pressed into the pan, so it's hard to hit pan on them because if you dip your brush into it, there's not a lot of kick up, so it's really hard pressed into the pan, so it's really hard to hit pan on them. So this is what it looks like. There's some usage, but I can even see some dip in it because it's so tight pressed. So I'm going to keep this in my third round. So this is Smog. And then another one that I have a lot of progress on, considering this was practically unused before during my second round. This one is from a Prism palette and it is Lucid. So this is Lucid. It's a topper shade. I don't usually wear inner corner and brow bone highlight, so I just use this as a topper shade. And I usually put this on top of Smog because Smog can be a bit too dark, so I usually top it with Lucid. So I have some dippage in it, but I'm probably going to hit pan on this on my third round if I continue using it like how I've been using it for the past month. So this is Lucid. So the last 3 shades were all from my Dream Street palette. There will be a lot of changes for this round because I bought 2 new palettes and then I'm also going to declutter this one. But for now, this is what it looked. For now, this is what my Dream Street looks like. It's been used even before doing a Pan Those Eyeshadows challenge. I already have a lot of dippage in it, and I think it's time for me to declutter this. But before that, this is what it looks like. This Moony and Potion, these two, I repressed them in my other palette, so I'm going to show it later before we choose the third round of my quintet. So the first shade that I was panning from here was Spark. So this is Spark. I've already have pan in it because it was easy for me to pan this palette because the formula of the shades in here were a bit more powdery. So I've mainly been using this as a base shade, and then I'll put another topper shade. Sometimes I'd use Lucid, or sometimes I'll use Sweet Dreams, which is also the 4th shade from my quintet. So Sweet Dreams is this one. And then the last shade is Elfish, which I've always used. It's one of my favorite shadow in all of my collection, and this is Elfish. So this one. This was quite easy to pan because I just use this every day. I just use this as a liner. I don't have any eyeliner, so I just use this to darken up my lash line. And I use a pencil brush, so it was quite easy for me to hit pan on this one. I'm keeping 2 shades because I haven't hit pan on them yet, and I still love them enough to keep them in my rotation. But for this, I'm going to roll out 3 shadows because I already hit pan on them. As I mentioned earlier, there will be a lot of changes in this round because I brought in 2 new palettes, and then I'm going to declutter this one. So the first palette purchase that I got this year was the Sultry palette. This has been a part of my wish list for quite some time already, ever since it launched. But I was really on a no buy before, and I was convincing myself that I didn't need it. But then all the stores that I know that sell this one, they're all discontinued, and that's when I realized that I really wanted this. So I was lucky enough that there were still some sellers in my country, so I was able to get one before this was completely sold out. So this is what it looks like. I have been using this quite a bit. I have Slate and Pearl and Cyborg in my eyes together with Dimension from my Prism palette. So this is what it looks like. However, even though I have 14 new pans, I'm not going to include this palette yet in my rotation because I will be traveling later on this year for a month. Hopefully by June. Hopefully this virus will be solved by then. There will be no problems with my flights. So I'll be bringing in this solely. I'll be focusing on this solely for 1 month. So since I'm already going to do that later on, I don't want to include this in the rotation for now. Later on, after I travel, perhaps I will include this already. But for now, I just want to focus on my other palettes that will be left behind when I'm going to travel. And then another palette is Going Coconuts. Yeah, I just really love this. And I've been using this. However, you can see that palm reader is missing. I knew from the start that I didn't like palm reader, and then when I swatched it, it was just too white, too flaky. It just didn't match my skin tone, so I decluttered that immediately. I tried using it a couple of times, but then it just confirmed that I didn't like that formula. If I want something to lighten up my shadows, I can go in with Pearl or with my other shimmers from my other palettes. So I just really didn't see the need for this one. And also, I was already planning on decluttering this one. So I decided to just go ahead and remove palm reader and just replace it with one shadow from this palette. I like Shooting Star so much. I've hit pan on them even before doing a Pan Those Eyeshadows challenge. And I'm going to keep this and I'm going to put it in my palm reader slot. So let me do just that. ColourPop shadows are all magnetic, so it's easy to just rearrange them. This is what my Going Coconuts look like now with Shooting Star replacing palm reader. Now this is the I Think I Love You palette, and this already contains some of my favorite shadows from my depotted ColourPop palettes in the past. But Fancy Face and Howdy, I never use them because I don't like them, so I'm going to declutter them. Since I still have Twinkle and Elfish from my Dream Street, I love these two. These two are my favorite shadows from this palette, so I'm going to keep them, and I'm going to use them to replace Howdy and Fancy Face from my I Think I Love You palette. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put Twinkle here. I'm going to put Elfish here on the browns. So this is now what my I Think I Love You palette looks like. If you guys are curious, this one is Elfish. This one was, I think, Wishful Thinking from the 2017 All I See Is Magic palette, one of my favorites. This one is from Dream Street. This one was from the Give It To Me Straight palette. This one was also from my 2017 Holiday ColourPop palette. So this is what it looks like. These are just my tones, just neutral chocolatey browns. Neutrals. So this is now my decluttered Dream Street palette. When I see this, I think I already got my money's worth out of it, and I've gotten some good looks out of them. But it's just that doing a no-buy, I realized what I really want. what I want to keep in my collection. And every time I say this, I get stressed because these are not my favorite tones. Yes, I like them, but I like my other palettes much better than this one. So I'm glad to have this. I'm glad to get some use out of it. And this was my favorite last when I got it. But my preferences have evolved, and I'm just glad that I was able to use up most of the shades, and I kept my favorites, and the rest I got some use out of them. So this is now out of my collection. And that brings my I started this project with 5 palettes, decluttered one. I added 2, so now I have 6 palettes all in all. So now I have updated my file, and that brings my total eyeshadows with no pans yet to 52. But since I'm not including my sultry palette for now, I only have 38 shades from my palettes that are included in this roulette. So let's choose the other 3 for my round 3 quintet. So the first one will be 7. 7 is from my type, from I Think I Love You. And this one is very hard pressed, similar to the Naked eyeshadows. So this is the starting point. I've used this quite a bit, but there's still no dip in it because it's very hard pressed into the pan. But I like using this one, so so even though it's going to be a challenge, I don't mind. So I'm just going to swatch it beside Smog. So this is my type. Now the 4th shade will be 8. Infusion from Zoeva. Infusion, oh, it's this one. This is the repressed potion from my Dream Street. And I already had a big dip in potion before I repressed it. And also the pan sizes of Zoeva is larger and deeper than the ColourPop ones, so the surface area is quite wider. So I think I'm going to hit pan easily on Infusion. So this is what it looks like repressed. It's also a matte one that will help complement the quintet that I have going on. So this is Infusion, which is the repressed potion from Dream Street. It's a very warm orange shadow. So the last one will be 18. 18 is Sidecar from my Naked palette. So this is Sidecar. It's pink. It's a pinky neutral. I have a little bit of a dip in here because I tried to pan this last year, but I tried panning it for 3 months straight. That's the only thing that I used mostly in my lids, but I still have a very shallow pan because the Naked palettes are so hard pressed. But this is what it looks like. It's this one. So I have a very good set of neutrals for this 3rd round, and I'm not mad at it because I love neutrals. You can see from my collection that I'm decluttering my colorful palettes and focusing on just on the neutral warm sides. So this is my 3rd round. I can get a bit colorful with this when I include potion, and then but essentially all of these are work appropriate, so I'm quite excited with my quintet for this round. So that's it for this round, guys. I hope you had fun. If you also do this challenge, let me know, because sometimes I get, especially at the end of the month or during or when a lot of panners are releasing their Pan Those Eyeshadows challenge, I try to just watch them, marathon them, because I like seeing how people progress on their eyeshadows, and it helps with not buying everything that comes out in the market. So yeah, If you guys had fun, then don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to follow this challenge, then also subscribe, because I always do an update every month. Going to end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on my next video. Bye!